No, I want to talk about why individually, why we think there's such a huge divide today.
Welcome to Pull the Pin Already, a place where average veterans come to share their opinions on the world we live in. We can't guarantee you're going to like our opinions.
But we promise we're going to enjoy giving them to you.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike.
And I'm Dontavius.
Let's pull the pin.
All right, let's pull the pin today. And what could we possibly want to pull that pin on?
I want to talk about something you guys have no clue about. None.
Is it sexually transmitted?
Oh boy!
I mean, you're talking a bunch of Army guys. I'm sure you're not going to sneak anything past us.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's just say, well, you guys know a lot about this. No, I want to talk about why individually, why we think there's such a huge divide today in America.
Octavius?
He thought we were
boy. All right. I think there's
you don't have to use all your points at one time, okay? Just letting you know that. You can share one at a time if you like.
One at a time.
I'm gonna run down the list. Let me get my list ready. I think there's I think there's ignorance. I think there's a lack of understanding, lack of compassion. Just those three off the top of my head right there. But there's a lot of reasons for the divide today. But I think ignorance plays a huge part in lack of compassion.
Well, okay, let's touch on that. What do you mean when you say expound on that a little bit? Ignorance.
For example, I mean, we see a lot of what's going on, with the police shootings, right? And as a normal or regular citizen, you don't go through training and stuff like that. You don't know the laws. You don't know training, so it can. When something happens and you don't know the full story and you're speaking on it, it's kind of ignorant. You're passing judgment on someone or something. You don't know the full story. You wasn't there, or you didn't do research or whatever. Like, that's ignorance. But yeah, I mean, there's many forms, but just in terms of that.
Okay.
We're pretty ignorant here, so we understand.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm very ignorant, but whatever, I own it.
Well, except Mike. Mike is like, I mean, he knows everything, dude. I can never slip anything past him. Like, unless we're talking about football or hockey or something, then he's like totally ignorant.
Oblivious. Oh, that's good though. So are you saying that, let's say, I don't want to mention any specific incident. You're just saying that the average citizen doesn't understand what, maybe, depending on the incident, but what the police have to go through or went through to make a judgment call in their actions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, correct.
And they're just looking at it from that citizen standpoint, saying, "Oh, the officer was wrong," because I, as a normal citizen, level-headed citizen, would never do that.
Well, I mean, you see on the news all the time, or Facebook, wherever you get your news from. It's usually a short clip, right? We don't really get the full clip of it until some time later, and by then, a lot of people have already made up their minds. They're already off doing whatever they're doing, and they don't want to hear the truth or whatever, the full story on things. And sometimes, not sometimes, but just having a full story and the actual truth, that can make a big difference.
Why don't you think they want to hear the full story, or why don't you think they take the time to look for the full story, or why are they quick to assume that this is everything?
I don't know. I don't know. I wish I had the answer for that. I don't know.
It wasn't on your list.
Oh, I would say this to respond to that. I would say, based on my experience, a lot of the time it's emotional reaction.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? I think it's an emotional reaction, and I don't care about Jim's side, Dontavius' side, or whatever. It's just something that happened, and I can relate to it. I can show a lot of empathy towards the victim, you know. So my thing is, once you get past that, I think that's when Jim's point comes in. All right, now why don't you do some research? And we're not saying that, and I'm sure Jim's the same way. We're not saying that, hey, if you do research, it's going to change your opinion. You know, that's not the case, but just do some research before you just jump automatically to a conclusion.
You know, I want to go a little bit broader. Maybe that's a cop out, but to me, I can summarize this whole thing, in my opinion, on two different things. People are becoming more selfish, and I don't mean that in a personal, maybe it's a fear-driven selfish, and communication. Because what I find is, even like when we get into these Facebook spats or your local neighborhood app spats, these fights, number one, you're going to say anything behind a keyboard. So social media has made communication or interpersonal communication so much more obsolete, because people aren't talking to other human beings. They're talking to other keyboards and words. So would you say those same things to my face? Would you try to convince me of your way if you couldn't hide behind a keyboard, or unplug and walk away like you made the most valid point in the world?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like what I really like on Facebook. I would call Jim, if he disagreed with me, depending on the topic, I would call him a racist. But now face to face, you know, would I?
You'd have to whisper it.
Yeah,
you have to whisper it.
You know, and I think that goes to Jim's point, though.
Right.
Yeah, I think ignorance does play a part in why we have such a huge divide.
Well, ignorance, I think, on Dontavius' ignorance point, like ignorance has such a negative I hate this word. People look negatively on the word ignorance.
Connotation, is that it?
There you go. Thank you. English is not my best language, even though it's my only one. But I think that has such a negative ignorance, but realistically, you can be ignorant on, many things. You just don't know. And we can't possibly even know how much we don't know. But people want to pretend that anytime they know something, like I'm altruistic, or I saw it on CNN, so therefore it's true, without thinking where CNN got it, or whatever news you're watching. People do that, and somehow they can justify in their own minds that it must be true. And
once CNN doesn't know, sorry, my bad.
No, you're good.
CNN doesn't even tell the whole story. One, and two, at least if you're gonna speak on something and know half of the information, don't be closed-minded. Just own that. Yeah, I don't know, but don't be ignorant to the point where someone presents the other side to you, the fact and you're still fighting. You're like, nah.
See, that's where I could join, because I was about to disagree with you, because if that's their source for information, CNN puts something out, okay, and then how people are, they're just gonna swallow whatever you stick in their mouth and then regurgitate it as truth, no matter what the source is, right? But they think it's true. They think, based off their source, that this information is true. I don't have an issue with that. That's why I say now I agree with you when you said, when, let's say, Jim comes in and says, hey, there's another side to this. What about this ABC 1, 2, 3, whatever side of the story? And then people just discount it. Nope, I don't want to hear it.
Well, no. I think, Mike, what you're talking about, I don't think that's okay. Just because I watch CNN or Fox, I don't think it's okay for me to say, hey, Mike, COVID deaths are such and such, because it's disingenuous. You can say, hey, I saw on the news today, or hey, I saw in Fox News today or CNN News today that this and this was what they said, because you really have no proof other than what you hear. Now, if you saw something specifically, if I said Mike's wearing it, ugly puke green shirt, Like, I have specific knowledge of this, so you'd be calling me a liar if you disagree.
Yeah, but what you're talking about now is citing your references.
Right, which today has to be done because you can't just blindly believe anybody anymore.
Right. And people have a problem with doing that, though.
Sure.
And then some people, believe it or not, they can't even cite their references.
Right.
You know, you say, hey, what? Where'd you get that from? I don't know. Yeah, it just popped up on your phone. You read the headline, and now you're running with it. You know,
I have a problem with the blatant ignorancy of the parroting anything. And a good example I'll give you is, you know, what we're going on right now with this whole election thing. Now, if you want to say, you know, your opinions, this, that, and the next thing, I get it. You want to say that there's no widespread corruption, whatever you want to say. But when you make a comment like there is no voter fraud, I really don't know how you can think that that's even possible. Like, I think voter fraud's existed since voting is existed. It may not turn the election, it may not know that. So to me, when I hear people make statements like that, and you're not citing me statistics, you're not saying, hey, we went through and then you've lost me on everything you say after that, because that's disingenuous. Right. You can even say we haven't found any voter fraud. You can say we haven't found any voter fraud that's going to affect or change the election. But when you make a dumb, bold statement like that, you lost me.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think about that, Dontavious?
No, I agree. I'm in agreement.
So your second point was after ignorance was what?
I don't remember.
Forgetfulness.
Yeah, forgetfulness.
What did I say? I said ignorance. Yeah, I don't remember.
Well, when we talk about a huge divide in the country, and you say one of the reasons is ignorance, I think ignorance breeds fear.
Yes.
You know, and I could show you on all sides, no matter what the topic is, it's based on fear of the unknown, right? So to your second point, which was,
I think compassion maybe, or
well, the 1 and 2, they kind of go hand in hand, because how am I supposed to show compassion towards Jim, who's a single dad? I think he has it easy. We touched on this before, right, Jim? I think he has it easy. Why is he complaining? He don't have this, he don't have that. I can't show compassion towards him, or I just blatantly outright refuse to show compassion towards him when he's speaking about his problems, you know? And I think it's we don't want to see the world or our world through from Jim's perspective. You get what I'm saying? So I think that goes in line with that compassion.
I want to touch before we get too far off and I forget, because I've got the worst memory in the world. You know, I say communication is the biggest problem, and I think, Mike, you hit on a really good point when you talk about fear. And if you know what happens, let's say fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown is what? It's a lack of communication or bad communication. So that fear forces people to do things. And what is one of the things you do in fear? And there was a great example somebody gave me about a dark room. You know, you're sitting in a chair in a dark room, right? And you're not going to sit there forever, right? Because what are you going to do? So you get up in the dark room, you can't see anything, and you're going to walk your way across, you know, hands out, like you're saying, and you feel a wall, right? When you feel that wall, what does that give you? It gives you kind of a sense of security of where I'm at, what's going on. What would have happened if you pushed that wall and it fell down? Most people would run back to the chair because they're looking for that security. And that security in our day to day is called tribalism. So when you fear things and you can't explain them, or you don't know what's going on, or you don't want to be wrong, or you don't want to be fearful, you tend to join in with the tribe that's screaming the loudest to what you relate to.
Yeah.
And you don't even care what they're saying at that point. You just want to feel that security.
Yeah. Like minds always gravitate towards one another. Sometimes they do it not even knowing.
Oh my goodness. Look,
you know?
I'm gravitating.
Going the wrong way, Jim. Going the wrong way, Jim.
No, not on my screen.
Oh, okay. But no, like minds gravitate towards one another, you know? So if Jim says something that I don't like based on my screen here, guys, I'm going to start going like this. down there with Dontavius.
Yes, yeah,
You know that?
he's down there. He's down there.
Yeah.
He can't migrate
Yeah.
anywhere because I don't think he can stand any higher.
Yeah, right. So how do you feel about that, Dontavius?
I'm in agreement with Jim. Again.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Now I gotta, you're in agreement with Jim. I gotta come after you now. So
All right, go for it.
so can you name a time where you showed compassion or you learned to show compassion for something that you were once ignorant about?
Yeah, my deployment.
Ooh,
I don't know if
please.
you want me to go
Yeah,
into detail.
please. This is a vet show.
Just prior to deployment, you know, I'm going to Afghanistan. You're told, you know, they're the enemy, they're the bad people. And when I get over there, I was a FOBIT, but I'm working with the foreign nationals to help bring the trucks into the base because they're delivering the supplies and stuff in between bases. And I got over there, and for the first, I want to say, a couple weeks of my deployment, I was very standoffish. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Just keep it moving. So I was just kind of feeding into my training, just thinking they're all the enemy. And I got over there. I'm like, I realized like they're nothing like what I was told, or what I was told. It was nothing like what. And that's my experience. That's not every veteran's experience. That was my experience. So that was that was an eye-opening deployment for me.
How about you, Mike?
Do you feel like you were fed some bad information?
I don't want to say bad information.
Right.
I want to say I wasn't given the entire story.
Yeah, I think the intel would say that there's some good apples in the bunch, but we have to focus on the bad apples. Oh shit.
Mike, I want to hear your compassion stories because I know you're like a, you know, like a Papa Smurf kind of fluffy, you know, compassionate to everyone.
I'm not compassionate towards you.
I know, that's why I let you get it out here. And I think it's
But no.
probably for centuries of wrongdoings that some people I think that look like me did to you, or some
No,
people that look like you.
I trace your lineage, man.
Oh, you did?
I told you about that. Yeah, I got.
Good luck, 'cause
I
I
have
can't
to-
even do it.
I did it for you, damn it.
Thanks.
All right. But no, it's talking about single parents, and this is true because I mentioned this in another show. It's like you think they don't have it as bad as they might say, but then you know you experience something, and it's like, what the freak? Okay, okay, and they have to, you know, mine is temporary, you know, because my spouse had an issue, but then I'm like, damn, they have to do that every day. Single mothers, and I'm not talking about, hey, they put themselves in that predicament or whatever, but it's just acknowledging the hard work that goes with being a single parent, you know, and, you know, just touch on that. I always felt single mothers, you know, I always felt for them because my mom was a single mother, but I never knew what she had to go through, you know, with 5 boys. So yeah, much respect to mom on that one.
Yeah, you learn that as you get older anyway with your parents.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But let me share with mine. I think mine was, you know, I grew up with dogs. You know what I mean? So dogs were nothing new to me. I understood what they add to the family, their companion. You know, I understood that. I even went to canine school in the military, so I understand the dynamics of what the dog can bring.
Hold up, before you get started, where'd you do canine school, Jim?
Sam Houston, was it?
Mm.
At Lackland Air Force. I think it's the only canine, isn't there? There are other ones.
Yeah. Oh, you did canine school there, but where'd you?
I didn't get a dog because I was in Hawaii, and then when I got back to Hawaii, they didn't have a spot for me, and then that's when I went to Fort Hood. Remember, I was supposed to get a dog at Fort Hood, so I never really worked a dog. I just went to school. So I
didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so back to my story. So I know the dogs. I know the stuff. You know, I get it. You know, but then I got a job as a vet tech assistant. And mostly my job was just to fetch medicines and needles and clean up poop and, you know, whatever else, you know. But part of my job was to take dogs that were put to sleep and throw them in a big trash bag and throw them in the freezer. And I didn't really have a problem with it because one of the things I was very ignorant about was these people that would come in and they'd spend $3,000 to give their dog 2 more months to live. And then they'd be back 2 months later and the dog didn't make it. And now they're in there sobbing like, you know, the world is over. And then you start to realize like these dogs only live, you know, 15 years at the most, if the smaller breeds, some breeds 10 years, you know. So why would you do that? Why would you get a dog, bring it into your family, love it like one of your kids, and then you're a bawling mess when it dies? Until my dog that I had, which I gave to my dad when I deployed, so it became my dad's dog, he died just 2 days before my wife was diagnosed with cancer. Now, mind you, at the time, my daughter was, you know, 4 years old or something like that. So I'd made a plaque for my dog, and I went to hang it on the wall, and my daughter's like, can I keep that? And she, you know, asked me, you know, why I did it. And I explained, you know, the dog went to heaven, you know, I gave her that whole explanation, you know. And then 10 months later, her mom died. And let me tell you, the hardest thing I ever had to do was watch my wife die. And then the second hardest thing was to go tell my daughter that her mother wasn't coming home. I mean, I even Googled it. Google's like, just be straight up. But this was the defining moment. When I went to tell my daughter that your mom's not coming home, she's no longer with us, she's gone to heaven, she looked at me and she said, oh, just like your dog. And I mean, I'm the one crying, and she handled it like an adult because she understood the reference. So from that point on, I understood this is how children learn about loss. So everyone should have a dog. Get a big dog so it dies in 5 years. But everyone should have a dog because that experience it's essential. And that was where it completely changed my mind, and the compassion for people who bring them in. And I had more compassion. So it got harder to put dogs in trash bags and throw them in the freezer. So
wow. I never heard anything like that. That's good. Yeah, that's real good. Wow.
Touching story.
I didn't mean to kill the mood, but you know, I mean, that's
Yeah, you pretty much did. Jim.
Lost your way, brother.
Hey, I think that's perfect to go into our favorite segment, to be honest with
yeah. Let's do that. Let's, instead of the somber mood, let's move on to something a little more exciting.
you. Jim, you had me and Dontavius like this. Okay.
I don't know what to say. I'm just
Well, you got to assume that every single parent usually comes with some story.
Yeah,
So,
right.
It isn't always as bad, but you know, whatever. And there's people that have worse. So I'm not even sitting here trying to get attention or any of that stuff. So,
Right.
but it is vital. So anyways, let's move on to let's pull the pin already. Like the name of our show, something we get just irritated about in the world. And we just want to share it with you guys because we have your attention for a couple minutes. So you're going to listen. So who wants to go first?
Mike James. You know, I'm going to take a page out of our good friend Nate's book, Nate the Vet. And he mentioned something about car dealerships. I had an issue with the car I was going through all this stuff with the family, and I had an issue with the car. Found out that my car registration expired at the end of August. Been letting my daughter drive it, right? But it's expired at the end of August. So I said, okay, let me go get it inspected real quick so I can get the registration renewed. They popped it in, had like 10 to 12 codes pop up, and I was like, you know what? She's done. Hey, she's an old car. She's been around 15 years. It's time to pull the pin on that one, right? So we go to get a new car. It's about that time. 15 years, hey, it's about time to get a new car. I can't stand my wife was like, hey, just stop. Only thing she heard was, I hate coming in car dealers. I can't stand it. Because you go talk to them, then the car salesman, then they have to go talk to someone else, come back and give you the best deal, best price. Then they have to go back. Then they come back. Then they go back. I said, hey, I told the guy, if you get up out that chair one more time, we're done. We're done. Well, I can't make the call. Then get him in here so I can talk to him.
Why
So
are
what
you even
happens?
here?
Yeah, exactly. You know what, Jim? I'm being serious, man. That's how I felt. It's like, get the person in here to make the decision. Hey, I want this car for $25,000. If you can't do it, what do we have to talk about? Hey, I can get it down to 26. So from that extra 1,000, because a buddy of mine is a car salesman. He said from that extra 1,000, he would have made $200 to $250 max. So he lost all of that commission because we walked out the door. And we went to another dealership, got the same car, everything on it, same thing Nate said, right? Everything that we wanted on it, and for the price that we wanted. And I said, I don't get it. That's why I say, pull the pin on these guys, man. It's just so irritating. Sorry to take so long, man. Go ahead.
That's all right. They need their justice. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you got something, Dontavius, or you want me to go?
I want to pull the pin on people who eat their steaks and burgers well done. I think you're childish. I think you need to be a vegetarian. You're not serious about eating meat. So that needs to not be a thing.
Wow.
It annoys me. Somebody orders a steak well done. Stop it, man. You're playing with your food. Just go ahead and order a salad.
Wow, that's what I was gonna say. So if you burn your meat, you might as well just eat vegetables. Not sure I
Just
see
eat
the
the
correlation,
sides.
but beef jerky, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry. Go ahead, Dontavius, finish, man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's it. That's it.
I was like, what is he, a chef or something? Getting upset?
I don't know. It just aggravates me.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, that's a hard one to follow up because I don't know how to hide my meat, but no, I'm not a well done guy, but I will tell you that one thing that really annoys me, getting back to that single parent kind of vibe thing, if you hadn't figured out who does the laundry in the house, it's this guy here. One thing that annoys me is maybe it's never happened to you guys. Maybe it's just me and I'm a complete idiot. But if you've ever been out somewhere and you feel something strange in your pant leg, and then you realize that there's a sock in there that kind of got stuck in there from the laundry. Yeah. I don't know what's the deal with that. I mean, I just don't understand. Like, can't there be different compartments for different things? Like, can we dry socks in one compartment and pants in another? Because that's kind of embarrassing. Yeah, you guys get on that. Engineers, you go get on that.
You reaching for the sock around moms?
Oh, God. Well, that
That's
was
the
a
way
good
to
one.
go.
That was a good one. Pull the
Yeah,
pin.
so-
Okay.
I think we've done enough damage tonight. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in, taking your time to listen to us fools. Hope you come back to next time. And until then, Godspeed.
And pull the pin.
Peace.
Thanks for joining us here at Pull the Pin Already. We hope you had as much fun as we did. If you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like button and share this video with a friend. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of our future episodes. But most importantly, leave a comment below. Let us know if you agree or disagree with our opinions. Hope to see you here next time on Pull the Pin Already.